Hello there. So today I want to actually talk about, let's call it revenge of the atheists and the LGBTQ. What am I talking about? What am I meaning here? So as far as I know, let's call them the people on the right, people who were more religious zealots, people who were whatever they were. They were generally, they weren't considered leftists. They weren't for the hippie movement. They weren't for leftist ideals. And they would shun you if you were an atheist. I'm not saying this happened from all religious people or whatever it is, but it was more known. I know this. That this was known that if you came out an atheist, you dare come out an atheist, you tell anybody you're an atheist, you will be shunned, you will be mocked, you will be laughed at, you will be treated like you're garbage, you would be disowned from your family. These are real things that can happen that people were legitimately scared of, as far as I know. I have yet to hear anyone say this wasn't the case, this wasn't the reality. So as far as I know, this is actually true. And the LGBTQ stuff is the same. It was more just the lesbian and the gay, but I'm just calling it LGBTQ stuff for today and for the title for my video. But yeah, if you came out lesbian and came out gay, you would have been shunned. You would have been ridiculed. You would have been mocked. You would have been disowned. People would treat you like garbage. It was awful. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because now in our society today, the revenge is that you can come out as an atheist and a lesbian and a gay and all that stuff, and you will be treated like you're God's gift to the earth, I guess. You'll be loved. You'll be like, oh, you're so brave and you're so this and you're so that. And it's like, I get it. It's a good thing that you're not being ridiculed and shunned and rejected. But you people are now doing the same thing to the conservatives. Conservatives have ideals who do accept you now. As far as I know, I don't hear any conservatives saying they're coming out and rejecting anyone for being gay or for being bi or for being lesbian or for being an atheist for that matter. I've seen Ben Shapiro and Sam Harris on a stage together having a respectful, decent conversation, and after that, Ben Shapiro invited him to a Sunday special, and it was great. And they have many back and forths these days where I hear atheists talking to religious people all the time, people on the right, people who are atheists today who are considered to be on the left. But if you go in the schools and you go into all the leftist places and on the social media sites and all that stuff, the left basically shuns the right and ridicules them and does the same thing. Now, that's their revenge. But at the same time, I think people on the right have to actually own what happened in the past. Once they can own what happened in the past, then they can make a legitimate argument saying, we apologize or whatever. Not necessarily they apologize, but we understand the wrong that was done here. And we are not that. We reject that. We condemn that. And in a sense, they're like apologizing for it because it's like they are the right. They were the right back then doing that. And they're saying we're moving forward rejecting this. So it is kind of like a form of an apology, but it's not really an apology because they didn't do anything. It's the people in the past that did it. So it's more they're condemning it. So now they're condemning this behavior. They need to come out, in my opinion. I think they should come out and condemn this behavior. I don't think they can come out and say, we are being victimized here without saying when the shoe was on the other foot, when the conservatives and the religious right leaning people were all owning all the institutions, that they weren't doing this to now the people on the left. It's just that the left is taking their revenge and doing it back to the people on the right. I heard some guy, he said a while back, they say when a person's down, don't kick them. This guy's like, no, when they're down, kick them. And that's like the mentality of people on the left, the atheists, the LGBTQ people, all that stuff. You hear them arguing as if they're still victims while mocking and ridiculing and rejecting and shunning all the people on the right and the conservatives and all that stuff and all the left institutions between the colleges and the public schools and the social media and all that stuff. That's what they're doing. They're kicking us when we're down. But at the same time, the right should come out and say, we condemn, we understand what happened, what we were doing when we were running everything, and we condemn that. Someone has to break the cycle here. If every single time someone gets down, they're fighting back, and they're never owning that they are that themselves, they don't display any humility for that, that's a problem. I am major into this whole humility thing, that we all have to be able to display humility. And I think the right here, as much as I am against the left doing what they're doing and the atheists doing this stuff, I don't hear any atheists actually acknowledging that people on the right and religious people will actually engage in conversation and respect them and actually speak at them like a nice, decent people. I hear a lot of religious people talking. I hear a lot of political commentators talking who are religious people, who are Christians, who are Jews, who are whatever. And whenever they're talking about atheists, they'll say, like, we disagree with them, with their worldview and all that stuff. But generally speaking, they're nice people. I'm open to having conversations with them. I don't think they're scum of the earth. They're not interested in ridiculing them and shunning them and disowning them or doing anything that happened in the past. That's not the time we're living in right now. But atheists would make it out to be as if that is the time we're living in now, as does the LGBTQ and all that stuff, when that's not the case. They have a lot of LGBTQ people part of the conservative movement. Trump was the first president, as far as I know, to wave the LGBTQ flag and all that stuff. So this idea that it's all a bunch of nonsense, really. It's really so this is really their revenge, but the message here is more like stop with your revenge, be better about it, understand what's going on, but it's also for the right. I'm not gonna be for the right entirely on these things until I hear more people on the right saying we understand what happened in the past, we understand what went on with you. A lot of the people on the right are actually getting saying things to say they're against this idea of empathy and all that stuff. I think that's a mistake. I think they should be able to empathize, especially now when they're being shunned and ridiculed and beat out of whatever, not literally beat, but they're being knocked out of all the social media and the schools and all that stuff. So they should be able to empathize and say, we empathize with the treatment that happened to you guys in the past. We condemn this though, and we're also condemning you doing it to us now. And we will make it a priority to not do this again, not move forward. And now all of a sudden, when we move forward, we're going to ridicule and reject you guys because there's no comfort, there's no trust right now, as far as I know, from anyone on the left to think that the right, if they got the power, would not do the same thing back as they already did in history. So this is a problem from the right and on the left right now, and I'm basically calling out everyone over here. Anyhow, that's all I got for that. All the best. Thanks for watching.